Morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning we continue our conversations and I have the opportunity to chat this morning online with Mrs. Kaye Trotman, who's the president of the Tobago Unique Bed and Breakfast and Self-Catering Association. We're talking a bit about Tobago Carnival and how that's impacting the sector, and she recently indicated that there have been a number of cancellations at a number of properties. So this morning, we're going to hear a bit more about that. Good morning, Mrs. Trotman, and welcome.
Good morning, Shenell, and good morning to your viewers.
All right, excellent. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Well, we are in the swing of things, just a few weeks away from Tobago Carnival, and a lot of properties are reporting to be fully booked with and still receiving phone calls about rooms and having to actually turn off their phones or get new phones because the calls just keep coming in, even at all odd hours of the night for rooms for Tobago Carnival. But we're hearing from you that there have been a number of cancellations at some of these properties. Tell us a bit about that, and what do you think has been one of the causal factors for this?
Okay, yes, the inquiries have been coming, and quite a bit of our properties are booked, 90% and up. But the challenge is for some of them that we are receiving recent calls that those visitors, especially from Trinidad, who would like to travel with their vehicles, are having difficulty securing tickets on the ferry. So hence the cancellation. So far, we've not gotten any concerns about the flight as yet. Let's see what happens closer to the time. But the main concern is with getting ferry tickets for potential visitors wanting to travel with their vehicles.
Okay, excellent. So now we have a clear understanding that although persons have booked their stay and are looking forward to participating in the carnival, the restrictions as it pertains to free movement between the two islands or even after getting to Trinidad has been one of the reasons for those ongoing cancellations. What about those recent bookings that have been opened up on the fast ferry? We saw that some additional sailings were added there. Has that impacted anything, or explain?
Okay, well, I know the last I knew is that the added seats were up until the 22nd, I think, and that those were sold out. So if they have put on anything else since that, um, I'm not so sure as yet, but hopefully that will address it. But the last of my information was up until I think the 22nd of October that those tickets were completely sold out.
All right. Tell us a bit about the availability of rooms for the week before Carnival, because I had a conversation with the chairman of the Tobago Chamber of the Tobago leg of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Mr. Curtis Williams, and what he was encouraging persons to do is to come from the weekend before, because there's a long Diwali weekend and there's a lot that's happening on the island. He's suggesting that, even as property owners and businesses, that we, encourage clients to not try to not try to have it that everyone tries to come on the Wednesday before Carnival, but encouraging persons to come for a longer time. Do you think that
While
this
we
can be
want
a practical
to,
strategy?
while we want to encourage people to come for a longer period, we also have to bear in mind that these are working people and that they have to be at work between Monday to Friday. So while we'd love to have them in Tobago for from the weekend before, it may not be practical for quite a bit of persons because of their work schedule.
And
That's
this
for taking a vacation period that would encourage that sort of movement.
Right, and they are encouraging persons to take that week off and come to Tobago, and we hope that works out,
We,
because we want to kind of diversify the traffic that's coming in. So it's not just that on Wednesday and Thursday you can't move about because you see everyone trying to bombard the island at one time,
well,
right?
what needs to happen, and that needs to be a deliberate plan with activities from that period all the way into the weekend. I think last the last carnival, they incorporated the activities of the World Food Day. So from World Food Day into Blue Food Festival into the carnival, it was a whole 2 weeks of activity that has to be planned for, deliberately planned for beforehand, so folks can plan to take their vacation to facilitate that sort of involvement and engagement in the activities in Tobago during the October carnival period.
And I believe that, something to that effect is happening because the week before is the Tobago Blue Food Festival. So there's a
Yes.
whole lot of events, and then you have the parties, the fetes that are happening in between. And so there's a lot that's happening in Tobago. There's no excuse to say there's nothing to do. The carnival is about to be, you know, as Mr. Williams says, a bumper time, back to back events. Tell us what kind of intervention is needed as it pertains to these last minute cancellations, and are you having the conversations with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce to advocate to Caribbean Airlines and the Port Authority on the expansion of flights and all of this? Tell us about that.
This is such a perennial problem. I don't even think there is need for new intervention per se. It's a known fact that any busy season in Tobago requires a kind of rescheduling or additional scheduling of the necessary transporting mechanism, whether by air or sea, to get to Tobago so that folks can participate, so that the whole events that are happening in Tobago can happen. We seem to have get this problem every time, so that Caribbean Airlines and the port by now knows that this is a period that they have to plan for in advance. So let's see what happens. We have to get it right at some point in time. Every year, we can't be doing the same level of intervention. It's already a known fact, and it should be built into the operation schedule of these carriers.
Excellent. In the meantime, what type of contingencies are being put in place, from your side as it pertains to the Bed and Breakfast Association to work with these persons to help them mitigate against future cancellations or just managing those cancellations?
Well, I know some properties on the individual levels have been trying to work with customers in terms of acquiring tickets for them, finding ways or encouraging them, especially to book earlier once dates are already set. So we'll continue to advocate that way. I know also some properties are working with other third parties that in their offering their packages, it would include airline tickets or ferry tickets within the package of the accommodation, stay, going to events, as well as the travel between Trinidad and Tobago. So I know some of our members are doing just that, and I guess they will continue to do so. And eventually we will at least hit that sweet spot.
Excellent. And talk to us a bit about what is being expected by the sector during this time. I know there's a lot of persons coming on the island, but what is expected of the sector, I should say, because as I was saying yesterday, it's one thing to have a lot of persons coming and patronizing, filling the rooms, but if they don't have a experience that encourages them to come back, we would probably be left in a worse state than we were before, because it would be very difficult to have that reputational management done. So what are we doing to ensure that when people come, we have the service, that will encourage them to come back, and giving them that overall Tobago experience that's not just about coming and enjoying the carnival, but about really enjoying Tobago and wanting to encourage their friends and family to come, so that it makes the marketing for the festival even easier for us going forward.
Well, one of the things that we have to be mindful of, Tobagonians, Tobago has always been known to be a people, a hospitable people. So it hurts me when I'm hearing that customer service is one of our weak points. We as Tobagonians need to get back to the place where we offer that genuine Tobago hospitality, genuine Tobago friendliness, genuine Tobago-ness that we throw out to all who come across our shores, whether they be from close by in terms of Trinidad, regionally or internationally. I think we have to pay close attention to ensuring that that genuineness, that helpfulness, that friendliness that has we have been known for shines even more. So that whole experience, which is authentically Tobago, allows our visitors, whether near or far, to experience that at our best. And one of the things that at least the small properties is engaged in right now is that we are looking at the possibilities of further strengthening that through what we call a cluster approach, where a group of small properties can come together, share the experiences of Tobago to our guests, introducing them to indigenous Tobago, local Tobago, opening them to areas that they may not have known before that are kind of off the beaten track. So not just the typical nylon pool, pigeon point, but opening them to experiences within the communities. So that's a project we are engaged in now between ourselves and the Hotel Association to see how we can make that work. Working not just with the accommodation sector, but with opening it up to the small tour guides, tour operators, the fisher folk sort of thing. So we believe that sort of approach, a cluster approach, can do wonders to opening and sharing that Tobago genuine hospitality with our visitors, both local, regional, and international.
Excellent.
So
What what are you looking forward to, or what is the sector looking forward to most about this Tobago Carnival? And do you think enough resources are being placed there to try to enhance the product? Do you have any recommendations?
But one of the things that I personally have always championed is the need to look beyond just the vacation type tourism, just one off events. Even though Carnival happens every year, it is the whole experience is an event. We need to build out our tourism industry that focuses a lot more on people staying in Tobago for a longer period for other reasons beside leisure and vacation, but that in that state it allows them as well to experience leisure and vacation. I'm speaking, for example, to give some clarity, if we are able to find or open up niche tourisms in education, in sports, in even health, where people are on the island for a cause that allows them to stay beyond a typical weekend, beyond a 1 week or 2 weeks. Then, when people start staying for months at a time, we are automatically allowing them to be engaged in the vacation aspect as well, and for them to bring other peoples that are associated with them, their families, their friends, to visit them and experience the vacation type tourism. But I believe that the sector in itself, we need to look at, and not just the sector, but the whole tourism platform, including both the state and the private sector. We need to look at engaging in tourism that looks at longer stay, and by that, it also opens up for more short stays to happen.
Right. And the conversation continues to happen as it pertains to moving the carnival out of the hands of the Festivals Commission and the Division of Tourism and into the hands of the private sector, and Tobagonians taking greater control over the festival and the success of the festival. One of those things has to do with businesses being fully engaged in the carnival and ensuring that they also come on board to market the festival, so that by the beginning of June, July, we hear businesses starting to announce those carnival packages and the type of things that will have the conversation being circulated around Tobago Carnival from an earlier period, so that we're not just asking for millions to be spent from the Division of Tourism to have those activations. But if every business collectively uses their platform to have something that represents the fact that they want Tobago, two persons to come to Tobago for Carnival, it also benefits them. Tell us a bit about, what your association is doing to ensure that you also kind of take some of the responsibility for seeing to it that this festival is successful this year and moving forward.
Well, part of the thing, not just our association, there needs to be a level of engagement between the state and private sector in how we transition away from the state being the major sponsor of these things into the private sector taking a hold. Part of the engagement needs to look at what we'd want the Tobago Carnival experience to be, what its nature should be, what we want it to look like, be like, how we want it to impact. So that level of engagement is needed for the transitioning away from fully public sector into that area where the private sector pays more attention. While there still needs to be greater lead taken by the private sector, we also have to recognize that this whole arrangement is such that the relationship that we currently have with the state is one that has been, well, I'll say, groomed for such a long time that the sudden cut does not necessarily work in the best interest of the overall economy of Trinidad and Tobago, and especially Tobago. So that there needs to be that a transition plan in terms of where we take it. So the Chamber of Commerce that has taken the lead on quite a bit of this, especially along with the accommodations and all other private sector stakeholders. There needs to be that engagement that we have with the state that says, how do we transition away from it? It cannot just be we talking, the private sector needs to take up more. There are other challenges that may be preventing that from happening that needs to come to the floor as we try to move away from a heavy dependence on government sector and the private sector taking more responsibility for these type of activities.
Excellent. And even as we wrap up our discussion this morning, is there anything that you want to say, whether it be to the policymakers or to the persons who have cancelled their trip to Tobago this morning in your contribution?
Oh well, to the policymakers, I think every so-called challenging moment is an opportunity for us to explore something different, an opportunity for us to break old ties that may have been hampering us or hindering us, and to look for new opportunities. So while there may be challenges in some of the things that we are experiencing right now, and some of these have to do with things that are beyond our control, things that may be happening geopolitically outside of the sphere of what we can influence. I think the things that we can influence, we need to pay closer attention to and do what we can on our end of the spectrum. To those of our potential guests who are thinking of not coming, I'd like to invite them to reconsider. Tobago is worth the effort of getting here. So that I know, unfortunately, we know that a lot of last minute things happen. So both Caribbean Airlines and the port, I believe, the closer to the carnival actually happening, will do something. So be on your guard, on your lookout for that, so that you can take advantage of any seats that come on to the schedule. So don't give up. We are still looking forward to having you on the island.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us here this morning, Kay. And we really hope that persons keep that an open mind to coming to Tobago for Carnival, even though you have not heard about anything yet. As she indicated, there's always those last minute flights being added or last minute sailings. So, keep an open eye, keep an open mind that things can
And
change.
people should be mindful too, Chanel, that last minute deals are not just something that we put on just because we didn't get it right. A lot of international folks do have, and travelers, airlines do have last minute deals. So anticipate that last minute deals would come on stream to get to Tobago.
Excellent. Well, guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's conversations. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Shenell Felix, and have a great day.